You think you're supposed to feel good all the time. You're not. Growth hurts. Change is uncomfortable. And if you're waiting for it to get easy, you're going to wait your whole damn life. Not everybody wants to win. Everybody wants success, transformation, growth, but nobody wants the pain that comes with it. And that's the damn problem. We've been trained to believe that pain means something's wrong. That discomfort is a signal to stop. But that's backwards. Pain isn't your enemy. It's the toll you pay to become something more than you were yesterday. You think change comes without pain, that you can level up without sacrifice? That's a fantasy. Growth hurts. It burns. It stretches you past what you thought you could handle. And that's the point. You don't get stronger in the moments of ease. You get stronger when it's heavy. When it's hard, when everything in your body and mind says a stop, but you keep pushing anyway. That's where the transformation happens, not in your victories, but in your battles. Not in your comfort zone, but in the places that test your limits. If you're not willing to hurt a little, you're not ready to evolve. Because growth, real growth, demands pain. Think about it. You want to build muscle, you've got to tear it first. You want to build discipline. You've got to say no to the things that bring instant pleasure and yes to the things that make you uncomfortable. You want mental toughness? You've got to walk through some fire. That's how it works. There's no secret, no shortcut. You've got to earn it, and you earn it through suffering with purpose. Most people run the second they feel pain. They tap out mentally before it even gets hard. They want the reward, but they're not willing to pay the price. So they live on repeat, same habits, same excuses, same average life. And it's not because they're not capable. It's because they're not willing to endure the discomfort that comes with rising above it. That's the separation right there. The people who win at life, they've learned how to embrace pain. They've stopped seeing it as something to avoid and started treating it like a personal trainer. Every time it shows up, it's an opportunity, a test. And when you learn to rewire your mind to accept that, when you stop flinching at pain and start facing it head on, that's when you become dangerous. Because once you stop being afraid of pain, nothing can stop you. You realize it's not permanent. It's a season. It's a necessary stretch on the way to something greater. And yeah, it'll suck. It'll hurt. But it'll also teach you who you really are. You'll find out how much you've been leaving on the table because you were too soft to deal with a little discomfort. And then you'll realize you've been underestimating yourself all along. Pain is not punishment. It's preparation. It's a message that you're moving, that you're growing, that you're not stuck in the same cycle of comfort and excuses. So the next time pain shows up, don't shrink, don't quit. Welcome it, learn from it, use it, because on the other side of that pain is power. And the only way to get there is to go through it. There's a moment that separates the average from the elite, the spectators from the warriors. It's not when everything's going right. It's not when you're in the zone and everything feels smooth. It's when it hurts. When your muscles are screaming, when your mind is begging you to stop. That's the moment. That's the test. That's where you find out who you really are. Because anybody can go hard when they feel good. Anybody can show up when they're motivated. But who are you when the fire starts burning and there's nothing left but will? You've got to learn to push when it hurts. That's where the breakthrough lives, not in the first few reps, but in the last ugly ones. Not in the first few hours of work, but in the ones where your eyes are burning and your brain is fried and you're still grinding. That's the difference maker. That's what champions are made of. Grit in the dark, effort when no one's clapping, discipline when quitting looks like the easier option. The pain is not a stop sign. It's an invitation. It's your chance to flip the switch and say, this is where I grow. Most people hit that wall and back off. They think, well, I've done enough. No, you haven't. You've done what's comfortable. And comfort is a liar. It tells you you're doing okay when you're really just staying the same. That moment when it hurts, that's when you either level up or stay stuck. Pushing through the pain builds something you can't fake. It builds resilience. It builds confidence. Not the fake kind where you walk around pretending to have it all together, but the deep, unshakable kind that comes from knowing you've been through hell and kept going. That's the kind of confidence that can't be taught. It has to be earned. It has to be fought for. People talk about motivation like it's this magical thing that's going to carry them through. Screw motivation. It's temporary. It comes and goes. What matters is what you do when it's gone. What matters is what you do when everything in you says a stop, and you still choose a go. That choice, that raw, painful, uncomfortable choice, is what builds champions. You're going to feel weak. You're going to feel tired. There will be days when everything in you wants to quit. And those days matter more than all the others combined, because that's when you're forging a version of yourself that can handle anything. That's when you're earning your next level. It's easy to talk about pushing through pain when you're watching someone else do it. But when it's you, when it's your body shaking, your lungs burning, your thoughts racing, that's where your edge lives. Most people never meet that edge. They back away from it. They talk themselves out of it. They settle. But you don't grow by backing off. You grow by leaning in. You grow by saying, this sucks, but I'm not done. There's power in those moments, the kind of power that doesn't just build strength. It builds character. It rewires your brain. It turns pain into fuel and turns effort into identity. And once you've tasted what it feels like to conquer pain, you don't go back. You stop fearing the hard stuff. You start chasing it because you've learned the truth. Your next level isn't found in ease. It's found right after the point where most people quit. Push when it hurts. That's where the real growth begins. You want to know why most people never get what they want? Because they don't understand what discipline actually is. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not some Instagram quote or motivational reel. It's waking up when your body's begging for more sleep. It's training when your legs are sore, your mind is tired, and no one's watching. It's doing the boring, repetitive, hard stuff over and over again. Not because you feel like it, but because it has to be done. That's the difference. That's what separates winners from whiners. People love talking about success, about goals, about the life they want. But they skip the part that matters most. The sacrifice. They want the body without the grind. They want the clarity without shutting off the noise. They want peace without fighting the war inside their own head. But discipline demands a price, and that price is pain. You think saying no to distractions is easy? You think staying consistent day after day doesn't hurt? Of course it does. It's not supposed to feel good. Discipline isn't about comfort. It's about control, controlling your urges, controlling your excuses, controlling that weak voice in your head that says, just take today off. That voice is a liar. That voice is trying to rob you of the life you could have. Every time you ignore the easy path and do what needs to be done, you're building something inside yourself. You're building a machine, and it's not built by motivation. It's built by repetition. Reps of discomfort, reps of sacrifice, reps of doing the right thing even when it feels wrong. That's the grind. That's what people don't see. They see the results, but they don't see the lonely hours, the missed parties, the meals prepped instead of ordered, the workouts when your energy's at zero. And yeah, it's lonely sometimes. People won't get it. They'll call it obsessive. They'll call it extreme. But they don't understand that freedom comes through discipline. You want to be free from regret, from weakness, from the chains of mediocrity? Then you better get used to the pain that comes with staying disciplined. Because every time you give in to comfort, you're making a choice to stay stuck. To remain average, to hand your future over to the easiest option in the moment. Real discipline doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need applause. It's built in silence. It's the voice that says, I don't care how I feel. I've got work to do. It's the internal contract you sign with yourself that says, I will not negotiate with weakness. Because once you start negotiating, the game's already over. You've already lost control. And if you can't control yourself, you can't control anything else. So, yeah, it's gonna suck. There will be days when it feels pointless, days when your body wants rest and your mind wants comfort. But if you want something that most people will never have, you have to do what most people will never do. You have to embrace the pain that comes with discipline, not because you enjoy it, but because you respect what it creates. And here's the truth. Every small act of discipline is a victory. Every time you do the hard thing, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more. And that proof builds momentum. That momentum builds confidence, turns into belief, and belief turns into results. Discipline hurts, but so does failure, so does regret. You get to choose your pain. One of them will break you, the other will build you. Choose wisely. Comfort is killing people, slowly, quietly, without them even noticing. It wraps around you like a blanket, makes you feel safe, tells you it's okay to take it easy to avoid the hard stuff. And before you know it, you're stuck. You're soft. You're settling for a version of life that's way below your potential, all because it felt good in the moment. But here's the raw truth. Comfort is the enemy. It's not your friend. It doesn't care about your dreams. It only cares about keeping you exactly where you are. Every time you choose comfort, you trade long term progress for short term relief. You skip the workout, you eat the junk, you scroll your time away. All because it's easier. It doesn't require effort. But he's never made anyone great. He's never built champions. All it ever built was regret. And that's what most people live with, an invisible weight of what if. What if I had pushed harder? What if I hadn't backed down? What if I didn't listen to that voice that said, I take it easy? The problem is, comfort disguises itself as happiness. It tricks you, it tells you you're doing fine. But deep down, you know something's off. You know you're capable of more, but you've let the addiction to ease keep you from chasing it, and that eats at you. That quiet frustration, that feeling like you're wasting your potential, it never goes away. It just simmers underneath all the distractions you use to drown it out. But guess what? You don't get to where you want to go by staying comfortable. You get there by choosing the path with resistance. The path where you sweat, struggle, sacrifice. That's the road to growth. That's where real progress is made. And the more you avoid it, the more you delay becoming the person you're meant to be. This isn't about living in constant misery. It's about developing the ability to face discomfort on purpose. To walk into it and say, well, let's go. That's power. That's freedom. Because when you stop being controlled by your comfort zone, you start owning your life. You start building calluses, mental, emotional, physical, that make you unstoppable. You stop flinching every time life punches you. You learn how to punch back. People don't understand that comfort creates weakness. It kills urgency. It dulls your instinct. You weren't designed to sit on a couch, scrolling, eating trash, playing it safe. You were built to face hard things, to take hits and get back up, to sweat, to bleed, to fight for something. That's how humans evolved. That's how we thrive. But now we've traded all that for convenience. Everything's one click away. No struggle, no discipline, no hunger. And then we wonder why we feel lost, why anxiety and depression are everywhere. It's because we've removed the very challenges that made life meaningful. You don't find purpose and comfort, you find it in adversity. You find it when you stretch beyond what you think you can handle, and you do it anyway. So, if you're tired of feeling stuck, do something uncomfortable today. Wake up early, turn your phone off, go train, read something hard, do the thing you've been avoiding. Because every time you choose discomfort over ease, you're sharpening yourself. You're building a version of you that can handle the storm, not hide from it. Comfort is a cage, discomfort is the key. Unlock the damn door and walk through it. That's where your real life begins. The real war isn't out there. It's not the world, the economy, the critics, or the people who doubted you. The real war is in your head. Every single day from the moment you wake up, it starts. That voice that says, you're tired. You can take it easy today. You've done enough. No one's watching. That voice is your biggest enemy. It's not loud. It's subtle. It sounds reasonable, but it's killing your potential one excuse at a time. Most people never realize how much their mind controls them. They think they're making decisions, but really their comfort-loving brain is running the show. It's constantly looking for the path of least resistance. It wants you to avoid struggle, avoid failure, avoid anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. That's why so many people get stuck. Not because they're not smart or talented, but because they're losing the battle between their ears. If you want to level up in life, you've got to get ruthless about mastering your mind. You've got to recognize when your brain is feeding you garbage and call it out for what it is. Fear, laziness, self-doubt, all dressed up to look like logic. That's the trick. It doesn't show up saying, let's ruin your life. It shows up saying, let's play it safe. But safe is not where growth happens. Safe is where dreams die. You have to train your mind like you train your body. Put it through the reps. Push it when it wants to quit. Sit in silence. Face the hard thoughts. Challenge your excuses. Learn to separate what you feel from what you do. Because your feelings are unreliable. They fluctuate. Discipline doesn't. You can't control every thought that pops up, but you can control whether or not you listen to it. That inner critic. The one that says you're not good enough, not ready, not worthy. That voice has lied to you your entire life. And every time you believed it, it got stronger. Every time you acted on fear instead of courage, it gained ground. But here's the good news. You can take it back. You can shut it down. Not with one big moment, but with 1,000 small choices. Every time you push through when it's hard. Every time you do what's right instead of what's easy. Every time you refuse to let that voice win, you're reclaiming control. There's no hack for this. You don't silence that voice forever. It'll always be there. It'll always try to pull you back to the old you. But what changes is your response. You stop negotiating with it. You stop entertaining the thoughts that weaken you, and you replace them with actions that prove it wrong. Your mind is a weapon. But like any weapon, it can destroy you if you don't know how to handle it. That's why mental strength isn't optional. It's necessary. Because life will punch you in the face. People will doubt you. You'll fail. You'll get knocked down. And in those moments, it's not talent that saves you. It's mindset. It's the inner fight. The ability to say, I'm not done. The ability to keep swinging when your back's against the wall. So stop waiting for the perfect mood. Stop relying on motivation. Learn to act in spite of the noise. Dominate the inner game. Win the battle in your head. Because if you lose there, it doesn't matter what you do out here. Everything starts and ends with the mind. Get it right, and everything else will follow. Doesn't show up with pain in the moment. It creeps in later when it's too late to change the outcome. You feel it when you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, knowing you could have done more. You feel it when the opportunity passes and you remember all the times you hesitated, made excuses, or chose comfort instead of effort. Regret doesn't hurt like a punch to the face. It hurts like a slow burn that never fully goes away. And the worst part? It's 100% your fault because you had a choice and you chose easy. Pain from effort is temporary. It fades. You push through a tough workout, you're sore for a few days, and then you're stronger. You grind through early mornings, late nights, uncomfortable conversations, discipline, sacrifice, and you come out sharper, more focused, more capable. But regret? That stays. It builds up every time you flinch, every time you put something off, every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. That's the pain you should be afraid of. People avoid hard work like it's going to kill them. They avoid challenge, discomfort, risk. They try to tiptoe through life and avoid all the pain. But here's the twist, they end up miserable anyway. You think staying in your comfort zone protects you? It doesn't. It just guarantees that nothing meaningful will ever happen. And when the clock runs out, you're not going to be thinking, I'm glad I took it easy. You're going to be thinking, why didn't I push harder? Why didn't I go for it? There's a pain that comes from showing up, grinding, failing, learning, getting better, and that pain is powerful. It builds you. It shapes you. It gives you something to be proud of. You earn every inch of progress with it. That's the pain you want, the pain you choose, because it's temporary and it leads to something greater. Then there's the pain of looking back and realizing you let fear run the show. You played small. You waited too long. You watched others take the risks you were too afraid to take. That's the kind of pain that haunts you. That's the kind that doesn't go away with time. It grows, and every year that passes without action just adds more weight to it. You have to decide what kind of pain you're willing to live with, because pain is coming either way. You can feel it now through effort and struggle, or feel it later through regret and wasted time. One makes you better, the other breaks you down. You've got to get aggressive about this. Stop treating your potential like it's optional. It's not. It's a responsibility. If you've got the ability to do more, be more, contribute more, then wasting that is one of the worst things you can do. Not just for you, but for the people around you who would have benefited from your growth, from your strength, from your example. Regret doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care what your excuses were. All it knows is that you didn't go all in, that you let fear win, that you settled. And when that realization hits, it cuts deeper than any struggle you were trying to avoid. So the next time you're faced with the choice, comfort or effort, easy or right, remember this. You'll suffer either way, but only one kind of suffering leads to pride. Only one builds your legacy. Choose that. Choose the pain that gives you life. Suffer because regret will always cost you more than discipline ever will.